Hey guys, it is Becky. I hope you're doing awesome today. Today I'm going to be talking about intermittent fasting. So you're thinking fasting, you're like, oh gosh, I don't want to go without food for a little while. Well, I'll tell you what, I was exactly the same way. I went to the doctor several years ago, back in 2014, and they told me that I had insulin resistance. They wanted to put me on medications, and I was not too keen on that idea. So I told my doctor that I would be able to beat this with diet and keep it under control. And still to this day, this 2017, when this video is being recorded, and I am still good to go. So I want to talk to you a little bit about intermittent fasting and why you can do this, even if you are someone who thinks that you need to eat every 2 to 3 hours like I thought I did. So let's talk about it a little bit, and I'll go a little bit more into my story. Basically, intermittent fasting just means that you're going to go without food for a longer period of time than from between meal to meal. So a little bit longer than what you're used to. Typically, it's 16 to 24 hours. And I know you're already freaking out. Don't go anywhere. Listen, I'm going to help you out to understand this. Usually, I would squirm between 2 and 3 hours and feel like, oh, I'm getting lightheaded. I've got to eat. I've got to eat. I've got to eat. Okay. If you're eating keto, you're doing a nutritional ketosis lifestyle, meaning that your body is naturally making ketones and you are fat adapted, or you're on your way to being fat adapted, you will be full more often than if you are carb fueled, meaning that your body is burning glucose. So if you are fat fueled, your body is burning your fat reserves. You're not going to need to snack. You're not going to need to be eating as often as if you are eating carbs, where your body is burning those up quickly. Okay. So when you are in ketosis, going without food for 16 hours, 24 hours is actually not as big of a deal as it sounds. If you're in nutritional ketosis, remember that your body is actually going to tap into the reserves that you have. This all goes back to in the past when it was feast or famine. There would be times of plenty whenever people would be able to eat whatever they wanted and all that kind of thing. And then there would be times like in the winter where they wouldn't have need to have food that was stored and things like that. So they'd be able to eat in the winter, okay? Now for Americans, we can eat year round. We have vegetables that are supposed to be seasonal, but they can be frozen and moved and shipped and all this, created, man-made, GMOs, all kinds of things. So we have access to food 24 hours a day. That is not how it used to be, okay? So being in nutritional ketosis, your body is able to tap into those fat reserves just like our ancestors did. Another note, if you are doing calorie restriction, meaning that you are eating smaller amount of calories than what your body actually needs, your body may go into this freaking out mode, thinking that it's starving and that it's not going to get any more food. So you're actually not doing yourself a favor by restricting calories to an extreme. And if you are doing that and you decide that you want to continue to do that, do not do intermittent fasting at the same time. Calorie restriction and intermittent fasting is not going to be beneficial to your health, okay? Here are some benefits, though, to your health if you decide to do intermittent fasting. Weight loss without feeling deprived. That's good, right? Remember, don't calorie restrict at the same time. Stable blood sugar. This is another reason. If you are being carb fueled, that means that your blood sugar is doing this all day long, every couple hours, and then 2 o'clock you need coffee, and then 5 o'clock you're needing coffee again, and you want sugar and you're craving this and craving that and all that. Keeping your blood sugar level is awesome because you're not having such cravings and your food is not seemingly disappearing so fast. Loss of body fat, because if your body is using up the reserves that it has, then guess what? It's not there anymore. All right. Also, you have lower blood pressure and lower cholesterol. All of this is part of the ketone diet as well. Also, reduced inflammation. This is really, really good. If you're not feeding your body lots and lots of sugars and carbs and things that are going to turn into carbs, then that's reducing the inflammation in your body because it's not being fed. Okay. Also, your increased level of ketones. There's tons and tons of benefits that go with that. I can talk about that in a different video. Also, reduction of free radical damage, which basically means that the aging process is going to be slower. That is a good thing, right? I do want to talk about one thing though. If you are someone who has to track macros and who has to write down everything, who wants to make sure every single piece of food that goes in your mouth is organic and, grass-fed, grass-finished, and all these kinds of things. All those things are wonderful, but at some point, if it becomes an obsession for you that all you can think about is food, all you can think about is macros, all you can think about is, can I eat this, can I not eat this, and you're going for long periods without food and things like that, just because you're not sure what to eat and you're stressing out about it, stop. Okay? Do not do intermittent fasting until you have a handle on what you're supposed to eat every day. Why do I say this? I say this because if you do intermittent fasting, let's say that you drop weight, and then you're also doing your calorie restrictions as well. Well, now your body is going to start storing your fat because it thinks that you're starving. Okay, so it's actually not going to help you. Also, just be checking your mental state, your emotional state. Why is it that you're doing intermittent fasting? Are you doing fasting so that you can be closer to God? Is it a spiritual thing, which is awesome? Are you doing it so that your body can catch up? Are you like me and don't have a gallbladder? And so I like to give my liver and my body and my organs and everything time to catch up with the food that I'm eating, especially if I'm out of enzymes and I don't have that, excuse me, for my body to help break down food. That's another reason I do intermittent fasting. And sometimes I just do it naturally. It's not something that I force. If you do have to force your intermittent fasting, if you are, the whole time that you're fasting, you're thinking, okay, as soon as I come off this fast, I'm going to eat a steak and burgers and this, and this, and you're like visualizing what you're going to eat when you're done, intermittent fasting is not for you yet. Because if you intermittent fast, and you come off the fast and then you binge eat for 2 days, you're actually not helping yourself at all. Okay, so just be conscious of why you're doing it. Are you doing it naturally or are you forcing it? Okay, listen to your body. Let's see what else I have on here. Oh, also, if you're on medications, if you're pregnant, nursing, have type 2 diabetes, or you're underweight, please ask your doctor before you decide to do intermittent fasting. Okay, because it may react with your body differently. So you're thinking, okay, you're saying 16 hours to 24 hours of fasting. You must have lost your mind. I do my fasting at night. So here's an example. Typically, I don't go longer than 16 hours. 16 hours seems to be the good spot for me. And so an example would be like if I stop eating at 6, which is actually really good for you because it gives your body time to back it up. If you watch my video with sleep, with the circadian rhythms and all that kind of stuff, that your body is cleansing and detoxing and all that all the time. Well, if you're putting food into your body real late at night, then your body is like, oh, sorry, I didn't know digestion was here. I'm not going to come in and clean up right now. We'll have to let digestion go through first. So if you don't have any food coming in past 6 o'clock, then that cleanup crew, so to say, could come in and help to clean up and detoxify your body like it's supposed to. All right, so let's say you stop eating at 6 and then you go to sleep. Well, that would mean that the next day at like 10 o'clock you could eat. That's like a 16-hour fast. Okay, so see, it doesn't seem as daunting if you're thinking about the time that you're sleeping. You could do a 24-hour fast where you eat like 5 o'clock on one night and then the next day at 5 o'clock you eat again. There's different things like that. There's also some foods that that will help to give you some nourishment and maybe extend your fast if you're doing pretty good, you're feeling pretty good. One is like bone broth, different things like that. So technically you wouldn't be fasting, but you drinking a liquid like that just helps to give you some nourishment, keep your electrolytes up and things like that. It helps to extend it. Also, the rocket fuel lattes that I talk about a lot, those actually do not interrupt your fast either, because the carbs that are in it, which is either hemp seeds or your flax seeds, are fiber. And so they're not going to be interrupting your blood sugars and things like that. So those are just a couple ideas for intermittent fasting. If this is something that you practice or something that you know some facts about that maybe I didn't mention, drop it below so that we can all learn from what you can share as well. So I hope to see you next time, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.